low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when you know hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Brian Giles with Brian Giles MTG. And we're back with some more Phyrexia All Will Be One spoilers. Now, I'm gonna be a little serious for a minute, and I want to apologize. Last night, which was 12/15, December 15th, on the on DJ Longhair's MTG Roundtable, we got, and I personally got a bit raunchy on the channel, and we said some, we cursed a lot, and we got into some raunchy type of stuff, and I want to apologize for leading people down a dark path. I don't want that darkness to dominate their destiny. I want Magic to be fun, and I want Magic players to enjoy the game. And while there is a lot of throwback on, all the different variants in this set, I still believe that we can make this set a good playable set and not have to resort to, rudeness, crudeness, and raunchiness. And I'm sorry for that. And if anybody thinks that I should, disconnect from these people and maybe even shut my channel down, I'll do that, because that's the way that I am. I want people to enjoy the game. I want people to enjoy me. So, without further ado, let's get positive and let's get into this set. Now, first up, we have 3 planeswalkers that were spoiled. I wasn't going to spoil this early because it was only just the 3 cards, and we don't get a lot of information off of them. But then, last night, after all this, and I wanted to look some more at these these 3 planeswalkers that were already spoiled, to kind of try to figure out what some of these cards were trying to say, what their abilities were to, and truthfully, I still haven't come up with a good explanation for any of them. But we'll go over them as much as possible in this video. In doing that, I found out that there were numerous, not quite a lot, but a few more spoilers, and I believe that these are genuine because these are in the same presentation foiling of the original leaked cards that included, stuff like the Quicksilver Fisher, the Sawblade Scamp, the Thrumming Bird, the Mirror Convert, the Sinew Dancer, and the Furnace Punisher. So they're in the same look as those cards, possibly, but leaked by even the same person. So let's start off with the Planeswalkers. Now, some of you may or may not know that in this set we get at least 10 Planeswalkers, and supposedly 5 of them are completed by the Phyrexians. So starting off, we have the one we know least about in Jace the Perfected Mind. We don't get a real idea of the casting cost. We see 2 colorless, a blue mana, and we know from some others that there might be some Phyrexian mana cost in that because that's kind of what happened with these past completed Planeswalkers. It shows Jace kind of half off center, and these cards are in the what they call the oil slick treatment, which is something that is supposedly only going to be able to be found in the new completed bundle, which is a bundle instead of having 8 set packs, it has 12 set packs plus additional cards like these completed planeswalkers and lands in that oil slick treatment. So it shows Jace as a completed legendary planeswalker. It's +1 until you're a creature, and there isn't much there. So its -2 abilities has something to do with the graveyard and drawing cards, which that's about as much as you get. And his final ability, which is a -X, is like it might be something akin to target player either mills or draws cards, or maybe both. Because this is a completed thing, and that's like Jace. So next up we have Vraska's Betrayal Sting. So her abilities are kind of different. We don't get any kind of casting cost for her that's visible because it's covered up by the other cards. But she's a completed planeswalker. She has a 0 loyalty ability and no plus loyalty ability. It says you draw a card and do something and then proliferate. And then a -2 ability, target creature blank. You tap it, you sacrifice something, and you get mana of any type, and something about types and something else. Something types and abilities. So I don't know what that's about. And her -9 loyalty is if target player something counters and then more counters. So she definitely has something to do with counters. And that, and with the whole proliferate thing, it's like, that's crazy. So what we have next is Nissa, Ascended Animist. Now here's a card we know the most about. It's 2 green, 2 Phyrexian green. So if you don't know what Phyrexian green is, it's like you can pay either 2 green mana or you can pay 2 life for each Phyrexian mana symbol. She's a 7th loyalty legendary planeswalker Nissa. She's completed, and for her +1 loyalty, which is very powerful actually, create an XX green Phyrexian horror creature token where X is Nissa's Ascended Animus loyalty. So you drop her, and she's beefy at a total of 7 for a 7 loyalty. But if you drop her, put that out, you get an instant 8/8. Assuming you pay all green mana and not any of the Phyrexia because of the completed stuff, and then there's still some rules questions out on that about because this is the first time we've seen something that has 2 Phyrexian symbols for a completed planeswalker. So you get an 8, just it coming out, you get an 8/8 body out there, which is nasty enough as it is. And if you're playing in a all green deck, this card can just be a beast. Next up, we have a -1 loyalty ability on her. It says destroy target artifact or enchantment. That's not bad. And finally, we don't see her final ability, which some think might be a -7, but it says until end of turn, creatures you control get +1/+1 for each forest you control and gain trample. We don't see the control, but we do see the D and gain trample, and we don't see all of control, but we see the L at the end, the top of the O, and the L at the end of it. So we figure that's what it is for Nissa. So that's straight up nasty. I mean, if you get her +1 and then and then the next turn you do, and then you do her finale. You got an 8/8 body out there at least, and if you haven't put any more lands down, you have it, and you paid, of course, if you've got an 8/8 out there, you've paid the full 7. And if you're playing all green, if you play all that in green mana, all in forests, then you get 7 more on top of that, which makes it a 15/15 trample creature. That thing is ugly. And you can do all sorts of other things like, Gaia's Gift, which makes it indestructible, gives it another +1/+1 counter, and, hex proof and all that goodiness. I mean, that's just disgusting. So I'm trying to get through this. I know I'm going a lot slower because, I've been a little serious. I'm trying not to get emotional, or at least too emotional, because I overdid it last night. So next up, with these next spoilers here, we have Necrogen Rot Priest. One black and one green, and two colors for a 1/5 Phyrexian zombie cleric with Toxic 2. Which means when it does damage to a player, that player gets 2 poison counters. That's ugly. Whenever a creature you control with toxic deals combat damage to a player, that player gets an additional poison counter. And for 1 black, 1 green, and 1, target creature you control with toxic gains death touch until end of turn. So this dude, if you have toxic, if he alone deals combat damage to somebody, you get 3 poison counters. Youch! And he's a 1/5, so if that's just crazy. There's gonna be a lot of toxic stuff in here and other stuff that we're gonna talk about. Next up, we have Bladed Ambassador, which is 1 white and 1 for a 3/1 Phyrexian soldier. Bladed Ambassador enters the battlefield with an oil counter on it. Pay a colorless, or pay 1. Remove an oil counter from Bladed Ambassador. Bladed Ambassador gains indestructible till end of turn. So oil counters are going to be a thing, and we'll see that with the next card in Urabrask's Anointer. 1 red and 3 for a 4/2 Phyrexian wizard. When Urabrask's Anointer enters the battlefield, it deals X damage to any target, where X is the number of permanents you control with oil counters on them. So oil counters are going to be a thing. I've heard about these oil counters. I've heard about these 2 cards before. I think I've even seen kind of half spoiled images of them, but now they're fully revealed, and we get a little bit more information on them, and so we're gonna have cards that come into play with oil counters on them, and we got cards that deal damage with, depending on how many oil counters are on them. So next up, we have Blight Belly Rat. 1 black and 1 for a 2/2 Phyrexian rat with Toxic 1. When Blight Belly Rat dies, proliferate. That's ugly. Next up, we have Bone Picker Scourge. 1 black and 2 for a 2/2 Phyrexian imp with flying. Has corrupted. As long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, Bone Picker Scourge has Death Touch and Lifelink. So they are really leaning in heavily into poison counters, toxic, this oil counter stuff. Next up, we have Rustvine Cultivator. It's hard to tell the casting cost. It looks like a single green mana for a for a 1/2 Phyrexian Elf Druid. You tap it, put an oil counter on Rustvine Cultivator. Or you can tap it, remove an oil counter from Rustvine Cultivator, untap target land. Okay, that does interesting things. So again, more stuff about oil counters. And finally, because we're over 20 minutes now, because I've been going real slow, I'm sorry about this. But I do want to get accurate information across and try not to delve into more emotionalism. So we have Canker Bloom, which is 1 green and 1 for a 3/2 Phyrexian fungus. Pay 1, sacrifice Canker Bloom, choose 1. Either destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, or proliferate. So this thing does a lot of stuff, and it's some artifact enchantment destruction and a proliferate thing on a body. So that's not you get some good value with it being 3/2 for only 2. So it's a good creature. It's got a good ability. So I like that. We're at over 21 minutes now. We're gonna say thank you for watching. Please forgive me for my my emotionalism and raunchiness. And I hope that this channel can continue because I do like going over these cards. It's part of what keeps me going. So you have a wonderful day. Hoo-ha.